Marion County children the opportunity to experience the magic of Christmas on Christmas Day through Ocala's Operation Feed 100 program. A limited amount of tickets will be available, so for more information and to purchase your tickets, go to WOCA.com and click on the Jingle Ball link.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. We have an interesting topic to talk about. It's yoga, and I'm especially interested in it because of something I watched or witnessed the other day. It was at the bookstore. We were at the bookstore, and we were standing in line buying some gifts for some people we know, and there was a lady in line buying a big book, like a collection of books on yoga. And I couldn't know because I didn't really speak to her, but I thought, I wonder if she's getting it as a gift. And if it's a gift, would the person, like maybe she knows somebody who loves yoga. I always make this maybe false impression upon myself that people who are into yoga are into yoga. Like, you don't need to buy them anything because they already know it. Like, how would I know what to buy somebody, you know?
Yeah.
Or is the person she's buying it for interested in yoga, has expressed an interest, but hasn't really taken that step to understand how to do it and anything? And I don't know anything about yoga. Have you ever done yoga?
No, just in high school.
Just high school.
You know, the Ohm thing when it was popular, and that was part of our physical education class.
And mentioning the Ohm thing is an interesting part of this because this is physical, but it connects somehow with spiritual, right? Or right?
That's what I believe.
Right.
Yes.
So we're going to get some of these questions answered. Megan McCrary is on the phone. She is a yoga instructor, so who better to ask? And happens to be an inspirational speaker. And her book is called "Pick Your Yoga Practice." Maybe that's one of the books that I saw this lady carrying. Exploring and understanding different styles of yoga. So now we have a whole new area to ask questions about the different styles. Unfortunately, only a short period of time to speak to Megan. Megan McCrary. Good morning, Megan.
Good morning.
Where are you?
I'm actually in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for being up early to be with us today. So your weather's not too bad, right? You're kind of like us. We've got good weather. You too?
Oh, yeah. It's a little overcast this morning, but it's been beautiful.
Yeah, but the rest of the country is frozen.
I know. I can't complain. We're spoiled.
So is yoga something that we have many misunderstandings about, we in general, the population?
Yeah. I don't know if there's misunderstandings. I think there's just limited understanding.
Okay.
So here in the West, we've taken yoga to really just mean that physical practice on the mat. You know, you wear your Lululemon, you're on your mat, you sweat, and you do the poses. Yoga is actually a very large tradition with many different practices and different avenues. And even, you know, somebody who's been practicing for a while, they may have only been practicing in a class, and they could be interested in diving deeper into the meanings, into the study, and to the understanding of yoga.
So do people who get into yoga for the first time enter into... Well, do they find themselves wanting to learn about yoga because of the physical benefits or the spiritual benefits? I'm guessing most people don't make that connection right away, that there's a spiritual part.
No, most people are looking for the physical benefits, which we're a physical culture here in the West. They're looking for the physical benefits. They've heard their mom, their sister-in-law, somebody does it. They've read in a magazine it helps with stress. You know, it helps with weight loss. Certain styles are geared towards that. So they find themselves practicing. And what tends to happen is if you practice, it usually takes a couple of years. And yoga is one of those things that you either stay with it or you usually just fall out of it within like 6 months.
So what?
After about a couple, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask, what would be the first thing? Like, if I entered a yoga class today, what would be the first thing I'd be taught?
The first thing you would be taught, it depends which style you went into. So there's certain styles that are breath focused. You'd be taught how to breathe through your nose and the Ujjayi breath. If you went to an Iyengar class, which is alignment focused, one of the first things you'd be taught is your foundation, how you place your feet and your hands. So it's all going to differ depending on the style.
Oh, okay. So right away you're getting, but you're being taught something physical, not necessarily spiritual.
Yes, yes. Most yoga practices, if you go into a studio, you're not going to get anything overtly spiritual. There are some styles where you're going to go in and you're going to chant. There's going to be deities on the wall. But there are many styles where you walk in, like core power yoga. You walk in and you will never really make that spiritual. You may make a spiritual connection, but it's physical. It's a physical practice. It's a breathing, moving, postural practice.
Does a person with a religious belief already find themselves in yoga being exposed to things that are contradictory to what they've already decided to believe in?
I don't believe so. First of all, in the classes, you can just go. You can make yoga whatever you want. So if you just want to keep it simply physical, you can practice at the physical level and go to classes for years. If you want to dive into the spiritual, you can. Now, when it comes to religion, the thing I like about yoga philosophy is you can. It's more of a philosophy and a spirituality, and you can apply it to your religion.
Okay, so
perspective, the way you're looking at the different teachings, because even within yoga, there's different worldviews. So you can look at the same teaching from like 5 different angles.
And you personally, when you first started doing yoga, was it for the physical benefits? Was if
the physical?
Okay, so when the spiritual part happened for you, was it like, wow, I've always heard about this, but here it is? I mean, did something happen like that?
You know what? I wound up walking into Anusara Yoga Studio, which is a style I've taught for many years, and they give a heart theme in the beginning. They sit down and you start with a little message. I love that. But it wasn't until I took the immersions of my teacher trainings did I really understand the spiritual philosophy behind that. And then when I found it was like, wow, what it's helped me with is just, it's almost like psychology. It's helped me understand my life and navigate it a little better.
One of the most interesting things I find out about yoga is that sometimes a person will be doing it and not even know it. I mean, just take like the shower, at least the shower for me. I'm there and like my mind is nothing in it, but then I'll start thinking of stuff and it's such a soothing effect. Or maybe just a walk in the woods when your mind is just letting loose of the day-to-day routine.
Mm-hmm. 100%. I love that. I always say yoga, to me, is a practice of intention. So if you're doing something in the moment with intention and all of your presence, it's yoga. Some people's yoga is rock climbing. I know some people's yoga is bicycle riding, walking. I love walking. I find it very meditative.
Oh, wow.
I totally agree.
So yoga isn't always sitting still and being in a position for a prolonged period of time.
No, and that's not always meditation. There's walking meditation. When you can be present in a moment with awareness, that to me is yoga.
Oh, wow. Okay. Megan McCrary is our guest. Your book is called Pick Your Yoga Practice. So does the book help guide us to the type of yoga that we might want to choose from?
Yeah, there's a guide chart in the beginning that helps you sort of direct you to certain chapters. But what I really encourage my readers to do is pick up a chapter, any chapter that you may be interested in, any style, and read through it. You may find that certain things excite you and you want to go check that style out, and you may find that that's not for you. It's sort of like, it's really an exploration. The book, you don't have to just read through, you can just sort of pick and choose and go after what you're interested in. And there's all these little boxes that are very helpful with extra information. So even if you just skim through the book and run into those boxes, you start to learn a lot.
So the lady I saw in the bookstore that I referred to at the opening, I don't know her story, but let's just, for the sake of this conversation, assume that we know that she was buying maybe even your book for somebody who's expressed an interest but never really did anything. And so this is going to be their introduction. What are your thoughts on somebody introducing themselves to yoga through a book as opposed through a teacher?
Well, I think doing your homework before you go anywhere is always a good idea. So I don't agree. Let's think. If you're trying to do the physical practice by following a book, it's really difficult because you need a teacher there to show you how to modify the poses, show you how to get into the position so you don't hurt yourself. But if you're just picking up a book like mine, to familiarize yourself with what you're about to get yourself into, I feel like you can go into the class with more confidence. People are intimidated by yoga. And so I think reading about it may make you excited, or it may make you feel more comfortable in stepping into something you know nothing about.
Yeah, because some of those books, they have all of the positions. There really isn't any kind of a spiritual factor, like you say. And then one of the pictures in all of those books is a person standing on their head up against a wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I come from a very alignment therapeutic style of yoga, so we take headstand very seriously, and shoulder stand, because they're both precarious on the neck, and we think we take it as an advanced asana, and we set up the time to do props and really teach the students. So I wouldn't suggest somebody try standing on their head without being or without learning the proper alignment. It's kind of the thing that is driving me a little bit crazy with social media, especially all the yoga photos on Instagram, is because I think people are seeing these and then trying them, and even some of the photos aren't very well aligned. And just as a yoga therapist, I cringe a little bit.
Is this a great practice for those that want to lose weight and not go on those crash diets and things?
Yeah. Well, yoga, yes. So specifically the more power, vinyasa, flow, ashtanga, the more dynamic, faster-paced moving ones, they're designed to create a process of detox you. And so you sweat a lot. The other thing that's neat is it's really balancing for the whole body. So you're working every muscle. So even guys that are work out a lot, they have a difficult time because you're having to access new sets of muscles and new openings. But yeah, there's a lot of yoga where you sweat from like beginning to end.
So you can do this with a friend, then you don't have to be this isn't something solitary at times.
No, and actually it's I even have a hard time. I have my meditation practice at home, but I have a hard time doing the asana, the physical practice at home. I prefer a group class. I just need that energy, that group, like we're all in this together, let's keep going. And I like having a teacher, so I prefer public classes.
Megan, earlier this morning we had a guest, and she wrote a book. It's fiction, but it was based on her life. To ask you this question, her boyfriend was in prison, and he's going to be there for a long time. And she wrote an erotic book, and she was saying, because so the whole sexuality of the two of them became a question. Yeah, there's no conjugal visits in Florida, so I asked her about that, and she said, "Well, we use yoga." So now, have you ever heard that before? Where to
suppress?
To
do whatever you need to do to take care of it. I've never heard of that before.
Yes. So they're probably speaking of very specific practices, most likely in like a tantric lineage, which I want to clarify. Here in the West, tantric means sex to everybody. It's actually sex is a very small part of the large tantric tradition, but they do deal with kundalini. How do I explain this? So a lot of systems believe that that sperm and semen is an energy. So they'll actually they'll teach not to ejaculate, so you keep that energy in you.
Oh wow!
There's all different. Yeah, there's all different. I mean, we can get in. Yoga's huge. Like you said, I'll probably get 5 books on yoga for Christmas gladly. Like, I'll never stop reading yoga books and wanting to know more. The well is unlimited.
That's amazing. That is truly amazing.
That sounds tough. I'm still stuck on that. I'm still stuck on that one part, holding back.
You'd have more energy.
Well, I know you lose a lot of energy when it goes away.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And then you keep it inside.
I even saw an elephant fall asleep. I was at the zoo, and the male elephant got off the female and went right to sleep. I saw this at the zoo.
He fell down, right? How about women that are pregnant? Is this really, really good for their self-esteem?
I do a lot of prenatal privates here in Los Angeles, and I love it. The general rule is if you were practicing yoga before, you can continue to practice at the level you were at. But I find that most women that are pregnant are coming to yoga for the first time. It's like their excuse, their treat. It helps deal with so much of the discomfort in the body. It's unbelievable. It helps deal with like things like indigestion because you're dealing with glands and hormones. It helps to deal with pregnant women go through a little bit of loneliness. So especially in the class, they have other pregnant women. I think it does help with their confidence to move their bodies. I have my women, we dance for a little while in my sessions and in my prenatal classes. It's a really special time for a woman, and prenatal yoga is just a really nice treat and a nice way of making that transition.
So I guess this is one of my last questions here. Would yoga be a good exercise or tool for somebody wanting to improve their golf game or maybe their alertness at work or any of those things?
Yes, I actually, in my class, I have a golfer, and it's great. And my brother's a surfer. Yoga, because it's a whole body workout, and it balances, and it opens you, right? So it's going to help, especially with those like golf, tennis, the twisting sports. But yoga for athletes is huge. And what they find is doing yoga speeds up the recovery time because it's more balance.
Wow.
Golfer, you're constantly swinging one way. You have a torque on your body. So I have a client now who's 80 who has scoliosis, and I'm not entirely convinced it didn't happen from golf because she's been golfing for 40 years.
Right.
But one side of her back is way overdeveloped. So if she was doing yoga this whole time, she'd be making sure that she was evening out both sides of her back.
Oh, wow. So there's so much more to this than we really realize. Megan, thank you for being on the air. The book is called Pick Your Yoga Practice. Megan McCrary is the author. And Megan, how do we get the book?
You can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, New World Library, and you can also check it out on my website, which is meganmccrary.com.
Okay, and Megan spells her last name McCrary, and Robin made it easy. Just go to WOCA.com, go to the guest list for today for this show, and you'll find Megan's name at the 11:05 slot with the website address. Megan, do you celebrate Christmas?
Yes.
Well, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for being on the air with us today.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Robin.
Fun interview. We'll take a little break, and we'll be right back.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala home store on Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give them a call, and they'll come and pick it up. For more